Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Tone's Market Analysis for Wednesday, May 31st. I'm finally back home, and it doesn't really get any easier. The amount of new followers that I'm getting, especially on Twitter, is really out of control. I'm picking up like 100 new Twitter followers a day, a lot of activity on my videos. And I mean, it's all great, but it also means a lot of people are side channeling me. And I don't know how famous, popular people get anything done. I have absolutely no idea. So I'm actually not sure when I'm going to get things done, but I have to, which is why probably over the next few weeks, when people ask me questions offline, I'm forced to ignore them, right? Because the most important thing that's coming up is the user-activated soft fork. And I know all of you want me to talk about the user-activated soft fork, and not only my opinion about the user-activated soft fork, but also its effects on the price, which is what's kind of become my specialty. But here's the thing. I'm not ready yet to talk about BIP 148 and the user-activated soft fork because, first of all, I'm not even ready for it myself. So I'm still, I just started reading about it. I just started learning about it. I mean, I want to fully understand what the community is trying to do in order for me to properly analyze it. So I'm not going to spend much time talking about it today, but this is priority one on my to-do list between now and next video. So next video will most likely come on Sunday or sometime over the weekend, and I will spend a bunch of time talking about the user-activated soft fork. Though I will mention it again later in the video when I have more viewers. So let's just jump right into the market. Oh yeah, I may also be canceling my travel schedule. I was gonna go traveling this summer to a lot of events, a lot of Bitcoin things going on around the world. But once again, the user-activated soft fork is way more important than anything that's going on. This is also why when prominent people are sending me their ideas and white papers, I'm basically telling them, you know what, if it's not Bitcoin related, it's completely not important to me. I understand it may be important to others, but to me, the most important thing is making sure that Bitcoin is successful going forward. But I will point you to 3 articles that I recommend you read if you are curious about the future of Bitcoin. One of them is by Luke Dash Jr. It explains what BIP 148 is. Another one is by Jimmy Song, which explains what user-activated soft fork is, UASF, and skin in the game. He has posted another article since then, basically talking about how Bitcoin will most likely fork, but I don't want to get into that quite yet. And of course, there is a website. This is from, I thought it was something else, but we use coins. So I guess this is Trace Mayer's initiative to educate people about BIP 148. I'll probably post these links over in the show notes. All right, let's I'll mention those links again later on because right now I have about 150 live viewers, and these videos get close to 300 live viewers when I get around the Bitcoin part. Let's briefly talk about the stock market. It was a weird day today. It was up and down. I am fully bullish the stock market. I am fully committed to the stock market. The sell in May and go away did not really do much. So is it time to take on a bullish trade in the market? Probably. Again, I have always been bullish the stock market. There is absolutely nothing in the stock market from a technical perspective that even suggests that prices are going to go down. We're about to form another 9, and then we'll be off for a 13 count. I'm not sure why I'm not counting. Oh, because it failed. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So Yeah, I'm not taking it on, but generally, I'm just bullish the stock market. I mean, nothing happened today. We're again flatlining. Every time the market is flat, you have these boxes that I draw, and that just means it's going higher. You get this one weird day on some crazy news, and then it recovers, and then it goes to a new high. Just like shakes out those that entered at a bad time. And I mean, I was shaken out of this one, so that's why I haven't like participated. And that's what happens. Market goes up and no one participates in it. People finally buy, it drops, everyone gets scared, gets knocked out, it goes up again to new highs. I mean, you really got to buy the dips in the stock market. Weekly chart also looks clean, just broke above the previous high. I mean, that's my target, right? That's my near-term target at about 2,600 on the S&P. My ultimate target on the S&P before any kind of major stock market correction is probably above 3,000, maybe even 4,000. Like I'm unreasonably bullish the stock market, guys. Unreasonably bullish. I mean, I'm thinking Dow 75,000. I talked about why in other videos, but yeah. Here's gold. Gold is the strange one, right? Because the stock market going up usually means gold's going to go down. We had this bullish ascending triangle, which points to a target right here. Now, I wouldn't touch gold at this moment either, neither the daily chart nor the weekly chart. The daily chart is saying bullish, and if we can get above this gray line, then I'm going to be bullish, and I might actually buy gold. Do a gold trade. But the reason why I'm not bullish is because the weekly chart is once again hitting the declining trend line, which should send gold down. I would want to see gold rise above the trend line and then above this prior high in the vicinity of 1290, 1300. If we can get above 1300, then and only then will I be bullish gold. Until then, I'm expecting the trend line to continue to repel it to the downside. So daily chart, slightly bullish. Weekly chart, slightly bearish. If price gets above 1300, then both daily and weekly will both look a little bullish. I've been bearish oil now for a little while, and it's still in the middle of nowhere, but technically it's making lower highs and lower lows. So we can potentially draw a bit of a channel, right? I mean, it may be difficult to draw, but let's see if we can stay in that channel. And I'm generally bearish oil, mostly because, I mean, technology is advancing and the global economy is kind of slowing down. Hey, so when I say stocks are going to go up in price, don't confuse stocks going up as me expecting a huge, robust economy. I think the economy is going to be okay, nothing spectacular. I mean, maybe if drones, private drones are allowed to be developed and driving cars aren't being hindered by regulation and, robots in your home aren't being hindered by regulation. Governments aren't stupidly trying to tax robots with Social Security, just like they do humans. Like, if these things don't happen, then yeah, we could have a robust economy. But most likely, it'll just be safety. People just trust stocks better than they trust bonds. I really should talk about bonds. The European Union is doing something stupid. They're basically recreating the dot-com crisis by packaging government bonds the way the U.S. packaged subprime mortgages and then selling those in tranches. So now the European government is going to do the same thing with their government debt, which is completely ridiculous, but it may give it a boost for like a year or two. So let's save this. So speaking of which, oh, what happened to my euro chart? Did I close it by accident? Oh, I closed the euro chart. Let me open that. All right, so while that's opening, so I'm still generally bullish the pound over the euro, though right now euro's on a bounce. And I've talked about that in previous videos, between Merkel probably getting reelected and Macron winning in France, and them coming up with some insane metrics in order to, you know, continue to sell garbage debt of countries like Greece and Spain and Portugal and Italy. They're going to put it into tranches. So the euro has been rebounding, and these arrows have been there since I think last week. And at this point, I am looking for the euro to have a more sustained dead cat bounce. But don't get me wrong, it's still a dead cat bounce. The euro as a, you know, as a movement is in serious trouble. All right, let's talk about Bitcoin. Looks like Richie Rich is back. If I'm lucky, he will compile questions for me so I can get to your questions. I'm trying to keep the analysis part to 20 minutes and then spending, you know, 40 minutes on your Q&A. We'll try and keep this video to an hour as well. All right, here's Bitcoin. So last week's candle was worrisome because of this long wick coming in from the top. Whenever we have these long wicks, like look back at 2013, you can look at 2013, also in April. Whenever we have these long wicks from the top, like here was a bad week with a long wick back in January, and then the next week was horrendous. Whenever we have these long wicks, it tends to be trouble. But this week so far is shaping up to be pretty good. So let's see how this week ends. Bitcoin is in a very, very fragile position at the moment, mostly because of the user-activated soft fork or the UASF. As mentioned earlier in the video, I will not talk much about UASF today. I will save that for my weekend video where I will spend, well, I still need to think about it, right? I mean, it's this is going to be huge. The user-activated soft fork will be the biggest test the Bitcoin economy has ever faced. And it's coming in August, which is in a way very ironic because back in August of 2014, I wrote an article saying that August 2017 will be the most important in the life of Bitcoin's, you know, past, present, and future. I wrote this almost 3 years ago now. It'll be exactly 3 years when user-activated soft fork goes into effect. Now, I was very, very specific. I actually pointed to August 14th, 2017 as the most critical day in the life of Bitcoin. I still don't know what August 14th represents. We do know what August 1st represents, and that's the activation of the user-activated soft fork. And it's too early to tell. And I also need to double check my math. I mean, this math was 3 years old, and I did it kind of tongue-in-cheek, thinking that what I was doing astrology and complete and utter bullshit. And it turns out this wasn't really the case. My major event for 2017.62 may actually come to fruition. And it's still not clear what it means for the price of Bitcoin. And these are the kinds of things I actually need like time to think about. So I need to like disconnect from all of the distractions and actually think about what the user-activated soft fork means economically, price-wise, and in general, and how far do I want to go supporting it, right? Because there is risk involved in supporting the user-activated soft fork. In case it doesn't work, those that were supporting it, will somewhat be blamed for Bitcoin's issues. So some risks are worth it, and some are not. And I still need a little more time to fully understand what I'm getting into before I fully support the user-activated soft fork. But I will make my decision soon. I'll probably make my decision this week, because I'm also not going to wait till the very end and wait to pick who the winners and losers are and then join the bandwagon. I'm usually at the front of this. I'm just a little bit behind on a lot of things, mostly because just so busy, and a lot of new people coming in. Everybody wants Bitcoin explained to them, even like my own friends that didn't listen to me back then. What about my friends that did buy a couple of Bitcoins? Now I need to explain to them what the user-activated soft fork means. Like, there's a lot of responsibility when you're always in front of the camera and making videos and speaking in public. It does come with a lot of responsibility and a lot of trolls, which I may talk about a little bit later if I care to. But anyway, let's get back to the Bitcoin price. So we now have Bitcoin going up, and the weekly chart still looks strong. It would look incredibly strong if we can close the week near the top of this wick. And that is actually asking a lot, because the price of Bitcoin got way out of control here. It got way further, way faster than even I expected. I thought the top of the channel would hold it up. Because we went so far up, I then expected the top of the channel to bounce the price. So most likely we will be starting to form a symmetric triangle here, as a Bitcoin people are gonna be scared. The euphoria into Bitcoin is still strong because people don't understand the danger in the user-activated soft fork. Now, this danger is not scaring me to sell my Bitcoin. However, it is something to fully understand so that you're prepared for, for the outcomes, and you're prepared for the consequences of what can happen. Again, the biggest problems in all markets is not knowing. Understanding and knowing what's going on is clarity. The more clarity a market has, the more transparency a market has, the more efficient the price discovery and the better it is. This is why the moment ASIC Boost revelations came out, I was the biggest Bitcoin bull, because to me, ASIC Boost provided clarity as to why Bitmain has been stalling on activating SegWit. And they stole too much, and now the community has rebelled against them, and we're now activating the user-activated soft fork. And again, I'll talk way more about it this weekend. I'll specifically make that the point of my video. Okay. So here is Bitfinex. Now, Bitfinex is now trading over $100 below Bitstamp. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, Bitfinex was the one trading over $100 above Bitstamp earlier. What I should actually do is I should open my comparison chart. Like here, the Bitfinex versus Bitstamp ratio. I mean, this was completely crazy. And should probably start tweeting this out again. I mean, look how it flipped. My God. I mean, this is insane. This is just insane. It got up to 10% above, and now it's about to get to 10% below. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Okay. All right, here's the hourly chart. So I tweeted out the other day, I think yesterday, that this cup and handle should break to the upside, and then we go up, about 300 points all the way to 2,500. This is Bitfinex, right? So 2,500 on Bitfinex would be like 2,600 and above on Bitstamp. And we started to break out, and then last night I saw it going down, and I personally started getting nervous. And but then I went to bed hoping everything will be okay, and it kind of was. Look, I'll be honest with you guys. If Bitcoin starts making new lows, it will make me a little nervous. It won't make me nervous about the technology, but it will make me nervous about the price. And I'm willing to hold through the price. And this is the difference, okay? This is what people really need to understand. Bitcoin technology is solid. Bitcoin technology is solid because we have a Bitcoin core and a subset of Bitcoin core Blockstream. These people are true cryptographic scientists. Something that I believe Ethereum doesn't have, okay? If there is anybody smart left programming Ethereum, my advice to them is immediately get the hell out of there. Because when that bubble crashes and the value of that coin drops, they will potentially be blamed. If those people have already sold their Ethereum and they make it public that they've sold their Ethereum as the insiders of Ethereum, they will be blamed even more. What happened to Vinny Lingham when he informed that he sold a bunch of his coins will be nothing in comparison to what would happen to the top brass of Ethereum. Because remember, Ethereum is a corporation. It's like a corporation. Ethereum is not really a decentralized entity. That was proven with the DAO and the reversal of transactions. And that split the coin into two. So I don't believe that Bitcoin will split into two. And if it does, it'll be very short-lived. Of course, those were the famous last words of the Ethereum developers as well. So there is some caution there. And I'll talk about this, the reality of the situation. So to me, Ethereum is not sound. To me, Ethereum is I still have 2 more episodes of Crypto Scam Ethereum to do, and I'll still try to do one of them sometime this week, probably post it next week. Kind of more depends on my guest than me at this point, though I'm not even ready to shoot it yet. I still need to do a little more research on that front. To me, Ethereum is not sound technologically, and it's difficult for me to say that because I'm not technologically competent enough to analyze that. But I trust other people to analyze the technology, and I trust their opinion that Ethereum is not technologically sound. Now, I know that Ethereum is not economically sound because economics is more of my domain. And the token, the Ethereum token, is not economically sound. On top of that, the token was created and sold in my opinion, as an illegal security sale, which I still believe will get the majority of the people involved in Ethereum in handcuffs sooner or later. Feels like later than sooner. And I don't want that for anyone, but I warned everyone of this as Ethereum was launching, though very few people were listening to me back then as opposed to now. And I say the same thing to anyone doing an ICO. I would never be a part of an ICO. I mean, buying an ICO isn't like illegal, but to me it's immoral, so I will never actually buy an ICO. But anyway, so one of the very frustrating things at the moment is the fact that people are now constantly texting me saying, hey, so Ethereum is now over like $250. Have you changed your mind on Ethereum? And the answer is no. Why would I change my mind on Ethereum? It's no different than someone texting me and saying, hey, Tone, so Bernie Madoff has just made me tens of millions of dollars, even hundreds of millions of dollars. Have you changed your mind on it being a Ponzi scheme? And the answer would be no. Of course, people didn't really know it was a Ponzi scheme, but suppose that you did. The valuation of Ethereum is irrelevant to the 3 points that I just mentioned earlier. Anyway, so I don't want to repeat myself. So the valuation, the price valuation is irrelevant. Now, Bitcoin, on the other hand, I believe is sound technology, which is why when the price of Bitcoin fell from over $1,300 down to $150, right? That was a 90% devalue crash in the price of Bitcoin. But the technology was always sound. So I was never really worried. For everything else trying to mimic Bitcoin and promising the moon, when their price crashes that far, let's see how sound their technology actually is. And in their cases, it might actually crash because of the flaws in that technology. All right, back to the hourly chart of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a little bit fragile right now. And because the hourly chart is displaying bubble patterns, okay? So because it went up too far too fast, oh, not this, though that is interesting. Because it went up too far too fast, it's now displaying bubble patterns. More specifically, and I know this is now going on a little too long. I do want to get to your questions as well. Just went off on a tangent about Ethereum. All right, where's my bubble chart? Hold on. Technical analysis. Here we go. So we went up and then we crashed, and now we've returned to normal. So in a way, Bitcoin is sitting right here, potentially. You don't know you're sitting there until you cross this line and you start to fall quickly. So you don't know that it's this, or you don't know if you're there or here. Like you don't know if it's a bull trap or a bear trap until either the low is taken out or the high is taken out. Okay? So we just don't know. Nobody does. Okay? If anyone knows, they're guessing. Okay? So right now we're in a position where, is this the dead cat bounce from the bubble and we go to the bottom of the channel, or God forbid, lower? Or are we about to break out and make a new high, or are we just going to get stuck here for a while? Look, nobody knows. All we can do is keep an eye on the hourly chart, and I'm keeping a very close eye. We've now made a second lower low, and we've now duplicated the high. I know this is Bitfinex, but Bitstamp looks the same, I promise you guys. If we can take out this high from yesterday of 2250, it's going to be a very bullish sign. And then we would need to get to this target. Now, also, remember, on that big bubble, here's the mini bubble, right? We fell, we recovered, and then we took out the low. Now, we can say that the low is the closing hourly low, or the low is the intra-hourly low. I personally don't like intra-hourly lows. I find them to be very, I find them to be noise. I try not to even look at the intraday low, but they're more important. I definitely couldn't care less about the intra-hour low. I want to see where the hour closed. So this was that return to range. And then we took it out and we fell really quickly. But these are fractals, and on a big scale, we're looking at the same thing, but we don't know if it's over yet. We really, really don't. And the user-activated soft fork is not going to make this any easier. It's going to make all of these decisions harder, and it's going to make people have very, very, it'll give them very itchy trigger fingers, let's put it that way, okay, on pulling the trigger on buying and selling Bitcoin. So if we fall below last night's low, I will start to get nervous. If we fall below 2 days ago low, I will get more nervous. And if we fall below the low from the 27th, I will get extremely nervous, okay? I'm not going to be selling my Bitcoin, not yet, but I will be bracing myself for a bigger correction. Hopefully the bottom of my green channel will hold it, and the bottom of the green channel currently stands at around 1750, okay? If it falls quickly. If it falls slowly, the bottom of the green channel is going to be around 1800 and above, okay? But that would create a double bottom, which would make me even more nervous, okay? I don't want to see these things. So that means that, well, one second, guys. So that means that if we start taking them out, I'm looking down to 1800, okay? And if we start to go back up, I will be a lot less nervous once we get into this double top here. Now, this double top will let me breathe a little bit easier, mostly because you don't get two good chances to exit, right? I mean, this was your second chance to exit. And if we go back here, that means I would be comfortable that we're going up. Now this should all happen long before the user-activated soft fork. And there's about to be a lot of noise over the user-activated soft fork. The community has not yet absorbed the information and the consequences of the user-activated soft fork. I know this for a fact because I haven't absorbed all of the information and the consequences of the user-activated soft fork. And now that I have almost 400 live viewers and 5,000+ people watching my videos, I will be contributing to the understanding of the user-activated soft fork, especially as it applies to the price. And I need to be real careful in what I say and how I say it. And that's why I'm not talking about it today, and I will talk about it over the weekend in my next video because this is on my to-do list to actually understand it. All right. On that note, I think I'm pretty much done. Now that I have my maximum live viewers, I will mention real quick 3 I guess, articles that I really, really enjoyed reading, and one of them I haven't even finished reading yet. One of them was Luke Dash Jr.'s BIP 148, and I'll try and throw these into the notes right after this video is over. I'll update the notes. This is one of them. Here's the other one by Jimmy Song, user-activated soft fork on skin in the game, and here is from WeUseCoins.com. User-activated soft fork guide, which explains it even further. This is the one I haven't fully read. I did watch the Trace Mayer interview with Jeff Berwick. I thought Trace did a fairly good job talking about user-activated soft fork. I can't recommend watching the last 15 minutes of the video because they're talking about altcoins. But the user-activated soft fork stuff is good. Anyway, I've also been getting into a lot of Twitter fights lately with academics, which is also in a way frustrating. Let's see here. Is it on my? Yeah. So this tweet started a bit of a conflict between me and Emin Gunsayer, who I'm not a huge fan of, and never was. Let's put it that way. So go ahead and check that out. Anyway, I don't want to. I want to get to your questions. Let me not. Let me not go on. The ICOs are clearly out of control. I was reminded that I needed to update my Mount Stupid chart, which I haven't updated in a while. All right. My goal of 20 minutes talking about markets clearly did not happen. And let me get to your questions. Thank you, Rich, for helping me out and compiling these questions. Let's take a look. Have you heard about Veritasium? What are your thoughts on it? Okay, this is going to be very, very quick. Okay, so if you're watching my channel, you're clearly familiar with my YouTube channel. There's another YouTube channel called the World Crypto Network. And if you go to the World Crypto Network, I am one of the contributors of the World Crypto Network. There's a podcast on the World Crypto Network called On the Record. You can see it right here with Pivx. You can see it right here with Volturo. And you can see it right here with Veritasium. Okay. So you can also go right here On the Record with Tone Vase, which is it's a list. I wonder if I have one on my channel as well. I probably do. And I interviewed Reggie Middleton of Veritasium for the On the Record podcast. So you can go ahead and watch this episode and you get my opinion on Veritasium by interviewing Reggie. My opinion on Veritasium is the same as my opinion on all ICOs. I don't like any ICOs. Having said that, you know what? Let me, all right, where's Reggie? It wasn't audio from Reggie. Let me stop sharing screen for a minute. Turn my camera back on. Okay, so as you can see, I'm back in New York. Okay, so my view on ICOs is I don't like any of them. I don't like them. Now, some ICOs are a lot scammier than other ICOs, okay? It's a huge spectrum. And a lot of my friends in the space are now ICOing their companies. And it's hard for me to, it's difficult for me to call them out on it in full. So I try to, be a little bit obscure about it. So I don't like any ICOs. Now, having said that, some ICOs are straight up scams, like Geonosis, okay? I don't care about any of those people, so I can call them out. Geonosis is a straight up scam, okay? The least scammy ICO is, in my opinion, Brock Pierce's blockchain capital token. That one, again, I'm not a huge fan of it, but that one is probably as legit as ICOs will get. Is in the middle, right? Everything else is in the middle, right? And by the way, Ethereum is also completely on the scam meter. Like Ethereum itself was an ICO, right? So there's certain ICOs fall right into the scammy ICO on the scam ICO side of the spectrum, like Geonosis, like Ethereum, like many others. Okay. The rest will fall in between. Now, the ICO thing is very complicated. Like your ICO itself may be a scam. If you structure your ICO in a non-scammy way, the reason you're ICOing is because no one probably wants to give you money. So that means your idea is probably stupid and it's not going to work. And your valuation is way too high. Now, anytime there is an ICO, the incentive of you building a company are completely skewed, and I don't have time to get into why, maybe on another podcast. And did you ICO on top of Ethereum? And that's a big one. And this is my problem with Brock Pierce's ICO. The ICO itself might be fine and legit and not scammy. But I believe that building any ICO on top of Ethereum, to me, is building your ICO on top of scam technology, which itself had a scam ICO. So to me, that is the problem. And Ethereum is going to fork. I have no doubt in my mind. And when that happens, it's going to be a problem, not to mention all other problems that could come to Ethereum. By the way, Ethereum transactions are now like 50 cents to $1 at a valuation of $200 a coin. So when Bitcoin was $200 a coin, Bitcoin's transaction fees were still like 5 to 10 cents. So Ethereum's blockchain is growing way faster than Bitcoin. Ethereum's transaction fees are growing way faster than Bitcoin. Ethereum is going to have 8 times, if not 100 times, more difficult scaling issues than Bitcoin ever will. And everyone is in love with Ethereum. Ethereum, to me, is a complete and utter joke. It's a joke that people have made hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on, something that I had the opportunity to make as well. But, but I decided to call it a scam instead of throwing, a few Bitcoins at it, making me a multi-millionaire. So you can see my frustration a little bit. But I stuck to my principles, and I'm going to continue to stick to my principles. All right, let's get to some more questions. If I have to share a screen, I guess I will. Let's see what we got next. British election next Thursday. Wow, again, just too busy to pay attention. What's your view on the cable and the euro strength zone? I don't have an opinion, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not up to date on my European politics and economics. Again, on my to-do list this week before the weekend, so I can update you guys, but also, fully understanding user-activated soft fork and preparing for the next Ethereum crypto scam episode. And I'm hoping to get these 3 things done, even without any other distractions. And I have about, 10 people side channeling me every day. And those that pay for tone-based consulting service of 0.1 Bitcoin per hour get immediate priority. Look, Andreas Antonopoulos could be texting me, and if you're texting me at the same time, willing to pay me 0.1 Bitcoin for an hour, Andreas would wait. If you are paying me for my time, you are the priority. And those that have paid for my consulting service know that I get back to them right away. Even a little bit, even like after the call, they still if those that have paid for my consulting services, they kind of almost become clients going forward. And if they're side channeling me then after, even for free, they would get slightly higher priorities in me answering them than someone that has never paid for a consulting session. And I talk about economics, I talk about trading, I can chart whatever you like if you want my opinion on that. Lately, people have been really curious about traditional markets and how to structure their retirement savings and things like that, because handing your money to money managers is a terrible thing to do. Okay, next question. Tone, how much do you think SegWit is priced into Bitcoin? Very tough question, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on the market's reflection in the current situation. Okay, here's that's a good question. Time to share screen. That's a very good question, actually. It's also very hard to answer. It's very subjective. Okay, so here's the thing. I personally believe that a lot of this run-up in May had to do with SegWit being priced in because of all the problems with Bitcoin Unlimited. I believe SegWit is priced in. We're getting SegWit. I mean, SegWit is guaranteed, guys. User-activated soft fork guarantees SegWit. The question now is, will there be 2 Bitcoin or not? Okay. Again, this is the kind of thing I'm going to talk about on Sunday. I know you want to hear it from me today, but user-activated soft fork is almost like a hard fork. And a hard fork can almost be like a soft fork, right? Like, it's just on a different spectrum. User-activated soft fork, what's going to happen is a lot safer than the hard fork that Jihan and Roger and Bitmain and the Bitcoin Unlimited wanted to do. But the potential to having 2 and even 3 Bitcoin in August is there. Now 3 is stretching it, right? But 2 is more likely. I don't. You know what? Let me not speak too soon. I don't think it's going to happen. I think there will only be 1 Bitcoin. But the risk is there. The risk is there. And I'm going to talk about this risk this weekend. It might have to make 2 videos, might have to make a long video. So I believe that SegWit is already priced in. The question is, how smoothly is it going to go? If it's going to go smoothly, then we're good. Then Bitcoin will probably hang around 2,500 to 3,000. If it doesn't go smoothly, there's a lot of room on the way down for Bitcoin to still stay solid. Okay. Good question. Hard to answer. Is user-activated soft fork make or break, or would Bitcoin still likely scale in some other way? I honestly think it's going to be make or break. As much as hard as it is to say it, I think it is make or break. And I said it will be make or break 3 years ago, right there, August 2017. If you heard me talk about it back then, somewhat tongue-in-cheek, I did talk about this would be the biggest day of the decade for Bitcoin. Bitcoin began in 2009. I didn't hear of it till probably early 2011. It's hard to pick out the exact date. I didn't get involved. I didn't get my first bits till 2013. I didn't become a content creator till early 2014. This article was written within, I would say, 3 to 6 months of me becoming a content creator. And I wrote about August 2017. This 17 stands for the year, not the day, guys. I know it's bad notation on my part. I talked about 2017 being the most important day in Bitcoin. Specifically August 14th, but I will redo my math, and I'll try to repost this article sometime next month. I've already mentioned earlier in this video, it looks like I'll be canceling my travel schedule this summer. I was going to go to Kazakhstan. I was going to go to India. I was probably going to go to Ukraine. Kazakhstan, speak at an event. India, I just want to see it from an economic perspective, from a Bitcoin perspective. Ukraine was going to be a Bitcoin event to speak at, and London on the way home was also a potential Bitcoin event, London FinTech Week, where I could probably speak at. I was going to visit all those places this summer, but I need to be ready for user-activated soft fork. People that are watching me now consistently somewhat depend on me to explain my views on user-activated soft fork, and I don't believe I can do that and travel and also, try to make some money trading traditional markets from the road, especially in countries like Kazakhstan and India. Once the user-activated soft fork works, and again, I'll talk more about this later, or it doesn't work, right? If Bitcoin does fail this year, I will walk away from the space and I will focus on traditional markets. Maybe I'll start a hedge fund. I'm not interested in any other cryptos. It's basically Bitcoin. And if my life savings in Bitcoin go to zero, then I'll need to, start from, well, not literally from scratch. I still have my trading portfolio of traditional markets. That will be my sole focus. I may or may not continue doing content, but the content would be in the scope of traditional. I would pivot to traditional finance. If there's no Bitcoin to invest in, to me, there really isn't anything else to invest in. these ICOs, these altcoins, they are not going to last. Which is what makes user activated soft fork and segregated witness even more important than anything else. I just saw 400 live viewers. That is definitely a record for me. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for a few of you that donate, and thank you to the few of you that hire me for individual consulting services. All right, let's get back to questions here. I will talk more about user-activated soft fork and if it is or isn't a make or break event on my next video this weekend. I'm leaning towards that it will be or make or break. Will Bitcoin fall in parallel with the eventual Ethereum price drop? Maybe. Maybe. It depends where Bitcoin is at the time. A lot of things depend on where Bitcoin is in relation to things, right? I've always said, not always, but for the last few months, I've been saying that Bitcoin will be fueled by the collapse of the alts. But Bitcoin went up so far alongside the alts that when the alts crashed a few weeks ago, Bitcoin also crashed. Now, it's hard to say what drove one or the other. So it's really difficult to say right now. It depends. Like, here's an example, right? If Bitcoin goes to 3,000 into SegWit activation, Bitcoin goes into $3,000. But Ethereum goes to over $1,000 during that time because people are scared that the user-activated soft fork isn't going to work. So if we're sitting there, Bitcoin at 3,000, Ethereum at 1,000, and SegWit works, Ethereum can crash from 1,000 to $50, and most of that value would go into Bitcoin. That's very possible. Now, on the flip side, if Bitcoin, if people get so scared about Bitcoin and this August event, and the price of Bitcoin drops, and the price of Ethereum goes way up, that would make it even a bigger flippening when Ethereum eventually, implodes, and it is going to implode. It's a matter of time, and time can go on for a while. So we don't know. But if Bitcoin and Ethereum rise in tandem, because all these newbies are coming in and they have no idea there is even an August event going on, and they're all buying Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're mostly buying Ethereum to do these ICOs, and people are buying up Bitcoin because hedge funds are coming in, and they also haven't done enough research to know that the August event is critical, and everybody bids up Bitcoin to where Bitcoin is hitting $5,000. Yeah, Bitcoin can certainly fall with Ethereum, and even independent of it. Okay, so there's a lot of factors going on. That's why it's impossible to project too far out. I mean, I projected that August was going to be the most important day in the life of Bitcoin 3 years out, but that was a straight up time cyclical analysis. That I didn't know anything about SegWit. Hell, I didn't even know. I mean, back then I was new to Bitcoin. Well, I'm trying to think what the biggest problem back then was. I mean, back then we were still trying to get merchants to accept Bitcoin, right? We're talking August 2014 here. So this is what the weekly chart looked like back then, right? Oh wait, I'm not sharing screen. I always figure if I'm sharing screen or not, but anyway, doesn't matter. Let me move on here. Prediction: if Bitcoin doesn't move past its 7 transactions per second, both changes not specified in dollar value, and the market dominance. I don't. If there's a question there, I missed it. Prediction. Oh, you want my prediction if Bitcoin doesn't move past 7 transactions a second? It'll be a problem. It's going to move past it, guys. It's going to move past it. No, it is going to move past it, right? This is the thing, right? Read those user-activated soft fork articles. SegWit is guaranteed on August 1st. The question is, will it be the only chain? Okay, this is what I'm going to be explaining in this weekend's video. Okay, SegWit is guaranteed. We're getting SegWit. Bitcoin will move on past 7 transactions a second. That is guaranteed. Back when I debated Roger Ver, user-activated soft fork wasn't a thing yet. Like it literally came out the next day, which is where I kept talking about, I'll take the status quo, because I didn't know that we can do something like user-activated soft fork and tell the miners to go screw themselves, and the economy can, and we can still, you know, Bitcoin mining will still be somewhat stable with the miners that hang around. Look, it's going to be a difficult time. You really need, you know, stones of steel to hold through this, but you need bigger stones to hold Ethereum. I'll tell you that much right now. Are you willing to give SegWit? No, oh, God, I don't even want to read this question because it's so. I'm trying not to use the word stupid, but I have to. Are you willing to give SegWit 2 megabyte hard fork a pass based on the low chances of a hard fork can even occur afterwards? Oh, okay, never mind. I didn't read the rest of the question. Well, look, I can throw my morality out the window and sign the SegWit plus 2 megabyte hard fork agreement, but everyone knows it's bullshit. Even the big blockers that signed it know it's bullshit because they were complaining about it the next day, from what I heard. And no respected core developer would ever sign this agreement because they know it's bullshit. No one can control a hard fork. No one can force a hard fork. Okay. Especially a hard fork to 2 megabytes. We are not getting 2 megabytes. Bitcoin will not have 2 megabytes. If you want 2 megabytes, go fork. Go off to the side. Go let Bitmain mine. You know, they've already proven to be, you know, all they care about is scamming and getting more money, right? They don't get, Bitmain doesn't care about the Bitcoin community. All they care about is money. At least Bitfury cares a little bit about the Bitcoin community, right? I know the slush pool cares about the Bitcoin community. Like at least some people mine and care about the Bitcoin community. Bitmain couldn't care less about the Bitcoin community, so no, I don't feel bad at all. And they'll never agree to it. Like they know look, the Bitmain has to be forced. I think they'll switch to SegWit. I think the user-activated soft fork is going to scare them, just like it scared the miners on Litecoin, because they'll literally go broke. I mean, they're throwing away their company. They're going to have to. Do you trust Adam Meister? I haven't needed to trust Adam Meister. In what regard? Like, would I give him my private key? No. I don't do deals with anyone in Bitcoin anymore, guys. Pay me first. I've been screwed too many times in Bitcoin by almost everyone I ever worked with in Bitcoin, which is why I no longer work with anyone in Bitcoin. I just don't. I work with you. I work with my followers, with people that watch my videos. You know, you pay me 0.1 Bitcoins, and I will make sure that I make time for you for 1 hour very, very quickly. And I will never take equity in a single company. I will never. If anyone comes to me and says, I have this awesome idea, are you interested in paying me 0.5 Bitcoin to add to the pool? I will say no. I will never give anyone a single Satoshi on my, to invest in any Bitcoin company. Like I said, I've been screwed too many times that has already probably cost me being a millionaire in Bitcoin just by holding Bitcoin. Not even, Ethereum, Ripple, like none of the altcoins. Okay, so I don't trust anyone. You shouldn't trust anyone, right? I honestly, like, it's not for me. It could also be I'm like the most unluckiest person in the world as well. So so that's a strange question. Do I trust Adam? I mean, I sure. I guess. I don't know. He hasn't. I disagree with him on certain things, but that's fine. And that's about it. Do you remember the first time you heard about Bitcoin, and how did you begin to take it seriously? Yes, I absolutely remember the first time I heard about Bitcoin. I heard of, and this is one of the arguments that I have with a man named Joseph all the time. I heard about Bitcoin when WikiLeaks was interested in accepting it for donations. Now, here is the thing, right? The rumor of WikiLeaks starting to accept Bitcoin donation was in December of 2010. WikiLeaks actually accepted Bitcoin donations in June or July 2011. So that's a 6-month period. So somewhere in that 6-month period, I heard about Bitcoin and it piqued my interest. I don't know if it was closer to December 2010 or June 2011. It was somewhere in the middle, okay? One of the people responsible for me knowing this information was Max Kaiser, because back then I was watching shows on RT like Max Kaiser's show, and back then a show called Capital Account. This is why I was aware of people like Reggie Middleton way before he was ever in the Bitcoin space, way before he even knew about Bitcoin, okay? Nor myself, right? Like, I knew about Reggie before I knew about Bitcoin, okay? And before even Reggie knew about Bitcoin. So anyway, so that's when I first heard about it. I remember it piquing my interest, but I didn't do anything about it. I was working Wall Street at the time. I Googled Bitcoin in early 2012 because it remained on my, mental radar. But when I Googled it, all that came up was mining Bitcoin. And I did not have time, nor the energy, nor the expertise, because this was my life back in 2012. I'd wake up before 7 a.m. I would have about a 1-hour commute to the city. I would work till about 7 p.m. I would have a 1-hour commute home. The moment I come home, I would change my clothes. I would either go to CrossFit. Yes, I used to have muscle, guys. I would either go to CrossFit and work out, or I would go play volleyball because I was on several Division A volleyball teams at the time. And then I would come home around, 10 p.m., cook dinner, and go to sleep. Okay, that was kind of my life. So when I Googled Bitcoin in 2012 and all that showed up was mining, I did not even have time to read the details of it, not to mention actually do something about it. Bitcoin stayed on my radar. Now in 2013, when Cyprus, and I was becoming more and more libertarian at the time, like anti-banks, anti-Wall Street, while working there, of course. This is where people like Jeff Berwick and like all these other, like Doug Casey and all these other guys came on my radar, Ron Paul. Anyway. You know, like what's his name? The guy from Thailand, all these gloom and doom guys, all these gold bugs too. I was also buying gold at the time too. I was like 2011, 2012 when I was buying gold and silver. Anyway, well, not 11, more like 2012, 13. I know I didn't buy the top. I know that. Okay, what was I saying? Okay, so sorry, I'll make this quick. So in 2013, when the Cyprus banks started to fall and money was being confiscated, that's when I finally got off my ass and started researching Bitcoin again. And even then, I knew that you needed to buy it with cash. So then I discovered local Bitcoins, and I remember being very, very pissed that I didn't discover local Bitcoins in 2012. Because if local Bitcoins came up in my Google search in 2012 instead of mining, I probably would have bought Bitcoin back in 2012. But I didn't have time to deal with mining, and I didn't know you can just go and buy it from people until 2013 rolled around. It sounds silly, but you know, I didn't connect the dots early enough. So in 2013. After the Cyprus events, I finally started, you know, scheduling meetings at coffee shops with people and buying small amounts of Bitcoin with cash. And then, as you all know, I've already lost more than half of my Bitcoin because of stupid investments in the Bitcoin space, which I will never, ever do again. All right. Thank you for asking about my history. Why did Tone divide the time calculation by 4 for August prediction? Oh, I'll tell you. I'll share a screen. Maybe this will be a long video. I don't care. Everyone says these videos need to be 20 minutes. I really don't care. I still have 380 viewers, so someone cares. Okay, here's why I divided by 4, because I can't multiply it because Bitcoin's too young. Okay, so I'm using Martin Armstrong's pi theory. This is wrong. I multiplied it by 100, not 10, in order to get a decent number of days. Basically, one smallest cycle is 8.61 years. But here's the problem. This kind of economic model that Armstrong uses is applied to 5 years of history of human economics. So in his world of 5 years of history, 5,000 years of history, 8.61 years is really as small as you're going to get. I mean, he multiplies this number. Like his cycles are like 300 years at a time. But if you have to go lower than 8.61 years, you now have to divide this number. And because we're dealing with circles, because we're dealing with pi as the fundamental basis of the analysis, I divided it by 4 because, you know, a circle is divisible into 4 quarters, okay? I could have also divided it by 8. The other question is, why am I not dividing it by 10 as a base 10? And that would be a good question. It's possible to divide it by 10, but in order to get 0.861 years as a critical point in time, and if I had more time, maybe I would play around with it and see if there's any significance. The way I chose to do it is to divide it by 4. But other multiples should work. Okay, next. Good question. Back to camera. I believe the float of ETH comes largely from the reaction to large corps supporting the EEA. I'm not even sure what EEA is. What kind of repercussions do you see for these large organizations if ETH busts? Corps now liable? Probably not. A lot of these corps are just taking the Ethereum code, forking it for internal purposes. No big corp would ever ICO on the Ethereum network. No big corp would probably use the Ethereum token if they have any brains at that corp. So when the corp says we find the Ethereum code interesting, they're literally taking the code and using it for internal purposes, which is perfectly fine. Ethereum could be an interesting, project. The problem is that they ICO'd, and it's free floating, and it has mining, and it has people that will destroy other people's value. So if a large corp is taking the code and just using the code because it's open sourced internally, not even caring about the damn token, internally you can do whatever you want. You have your own closed source mining. If you even mining this stuff, and for them, they would love it, proof of stake. They can just create this internal token within their corporation. This token would have absolutely no value. They would create as much or as little of this token as they like in order to use this token as fuel to run the internal smart contracts. If they're smart, they would turn off Turing completeness, because that would completely screw up their company. But they're completely not liable. And it's people bullshitting you that all these corporations are interested in the ETH, the Ethereum token. Since Ethereum has released state-of-the-art Ponzi tech, I like the way this question starts. Do you think Ponzi participation or Ponzi promoter will become a real job in the future? What do you mean? It's always been a job. It's always been a job. What do you think affiliate marketing is 90% of the time, right? That's kind of what Ponzi's are. There's some affiliate codes, like I have affiliate codes where you pay a fee as the user, and that fee is split between me and the other company. That's different, right? But when I actually get, a piece of your investment, that will always turn into a Ponzi. It has to. Okay. Now, I love giving out my Project Fi cell phone affiliate code, because Google will give you $20 and they will give me $20 if you get on their cell phone plan, which I think is like the best plan in the world because I use it all around the world. And I love sharing that affiliate code, right? I also share my One Broker affiliate code because I get a little bit of a kickback from the trading fee that you have to pay to take on a trade. Now, that's not a Ponzi affiliate, but most affiliates are Ponzi's. Like the BitClub network, that affiliate network is a Ponzi affiliate network. It may not be a Ponzi yet, but it will be. I can guarantee you that, because that's how these things, it turns into that. Because you're trying to convince other people to contribute money, and then you get a permanent kickback of their participation, and you're being paid to get people in from that person. These are very, very different things, okay? Very different things, okay? So there's different kind. Suckering people into a Ponzi has always been a job, and a very profitable job, by the way, if you're good at it. Comes with some risk, though. All right, I'm down to 3 questions. I think I'll leave it at that. If RSK, which is Rootstock, releases Ponzi tech, on Bitcoin. Do you think the ICO bubble will migrate to Bitcoin or just die off with Ethereum? That's a really, really good question. I don't know. It depends whether the ICO Stupid implodes on Ethereum before Rootstock really gets moving. I don't know. I don't know. It might. I don't even know how secure Rootstock is going to be. Like, I'm still very, very skeptical about Rootstock. I just haven't had time to, research it. Can't answer that one. Are 1 hour candles useful for technical analysis, or are they too short term? They're a little too short term. Like, the candles themselves. All right, let me go back to screen share here. Man, so much for keeping these videos to an hour. Man, I really have a problem. So the candles themselves, I do not find useful at all. But the candle patterns that they form in combination with each other, I tend to find useful. Like, for example, on a daily chart, and more so on a weekly chart, I really care about dojis and shooting stars, like these big wicks. But on an hourly chart, I don't really care about the wicks at all. But I care about, the cup and handles and the triangles. So I think there is some usefulness to the hourly candles. What alts are sticking with BC platform and shunning ETH? I think by alts you mean ICOs. What ICOs are gonna try to do it on Bitcoin versus Ethereum? So far, it's just Vinny Linkham's Civic ICO, and again, right, this is what I mean. These ICOs are on a monster spectrum. They're on a monster spectrum from very scammy to not as scammy. And the things on this end depend a lot on, is it just a digital version of of something underlying it, and the digital version is just there for easy transference? Or is it for you to actually raise money, right? And did you build it on Ethereum or not? Like, the people that come to my right hand, to this side of the spectrum, the least scammy of the tokens, are the ones that do not rely on the selling the token to a greater and greater fool, and are not built on Ethereum, right? Which is why I'm skeptical of, and again, these are friends of mine, right? Which is why I'm skeptical of Anthem Blanchard's token, not only from a regulatory perspective, but also because it's built on Ethereum. So I am a little less skeptical about Vinny's token because it's built on Rootstock and not on Ethereum, because I like Rootstock more than I like Ethereum. But that doesn't mean that I like Rootstock, right? It can still mean that I think Rootstock is insane. It's just not as insane as Ethereum. And then you have something like Brock Pierce's ICO, which is supposed to basically represent the investment in his fund. So he's only tokenizing it for the sake of tokenizing it. And it's trading at a big premium, but it shouldn't. And that's not really his fault. And he's not really profiting from it. But which is another thing, right? It's how much did you profit from your ICO? And Brock Pierce didn't profit from his ICO because he could have raised that money in the traditional way. But something like Brave Browser, which at this point I personally think is totally stupid, it needed that money because no one would give him money in any other way. And I can't believe that thing sold out in 14 seconds. I don't know enough about it, but like the BAT, the attention token is closer to this side, on the scammy side than it is on the less scammy side. Let's just put it that way. All right, Rich throwing a few more questions at me. Question: you have mentioned your integrity and sticking to your principles, sometimes at the cost of your financial position. Can you elaborate on what principles you live by? I'm not sure anymore, guys. I'm not sure anymore. It's just that, like, if it smells like a scam to me, I'm not going to promote it, and I am not going to put my money in it, even if I know it's going to make me money, even if I'm guaranteed that it's going to make me money, right? This is why people made tens of thousands of dollars of posting my content on Steemit, and I never posted my content on Steemit, right? That's kind of one of my only principles right now, and it may be a dumb principle. Maybe I should have never done that, right? But maybe if I wasn't a content creator and I was just like doing this stuff and I wasn't making videos, I would have done that. I don't know. That's pretty much it. I mean, I've been fairly honest. I've been too honest for my own good. Probably why I'm not married yet. All right, let's move on. Do you have any explanation why there is a significant increment on South Korean buying Ethereum and Litecoin? I talked about South Korea a little bit last video. I mean, I don't know. People are just like gambling, right? I mean, like 100% return on Bitcoin is not enough for them. They need 1,000% return, right? So they're gonna people in Japan, people in South Korea, they're discovering the crypto space a little bit late, and Bitcoin's a little too expensive, so they're shooting for cheaper alternatives, which are going to end badly for them. All right, last question. Video's already an hour and a half long, so definitely last question. Any views on Ethereum ICO with regards to ETH that were never even extracted? Does that help pump the market cap because of the fake supply? Not all the Ether is liquid. I have a 2-hour video only about this. So if you're not familiar with my work, again, I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, hey guys, you really need to be more familiar with my work if you're going to ask questions. If you go to my YouTube channel, I don't even have a shortcut for my own YouTube channel. I just go to World Crypto Network's YouTube channel and then go to my channel. But if you go to my channel, there is the Crypto Scam podcast. And the last episode was literally about the Ethereum scammy ICO. And that's exactly what I talked about. How 60% or 80% of current Ethereum supply was never sold to the public. It was basically created by the founders and by the insiders for themselves. And this is what we talked about, and which is what I always protested since day one, and why instead of being a multi-Ethereum millionaire by just buying some, I'm offering consulting services at 0.1 Bitcoin per hour. I mean, so maybe you shouldn't take my advice. Let me put it that way. It's clearly didn't work out to people's financial interests that wanted to buy Ethereum, but I don't see myself removing the scam tag from Ethereum anytime soon. So, I mean, the only way I would do it is if the SEC literally comes out and blesses it. And all the other regulators do as well. And I just don't see that happening. Not that I need their blessing, but look, if it's legally accepted, and look, I hate the legal system as much as the next guy. But if it's legally accepted, I can't really call it a scam anymore, right? Like I can't call the US dollar a scam. It's legally accepted. All right, guys. On this note, I'm gonna call it a night. Once again, I will talk about the user-activated soft fork next video a lot, and please read the following articles: BIP 148 and the Risks Involved by Luke Dash Jr., Bitcoin, User-Activated Soft Fork and Skin in the Game by Jimmy Song. And head over to We Use Coins and read the guide to User-Activated Soft Fork, which I still need to finish reading myself. The video with Trey Smair is also pretty good. Okay, so you can start there. And I'll have more info for you on that front soon. Once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for your donations. And connect with me. My email is in the description of the video. If you are interested in the tone-based consulting service about any of my numerous specialties at 0.1 Bitcoin per hour. All right, guys, on that note, I will go ahead and sign off. Good luck trading, and hang in there and learn about what's coming in August.